Record. So, let's just check. Yes, we're recording. So welcome anybody, everybody. Tonight we're going to do yoga for backs and knees. So you might want a strap. If you haven't got a strap, then an old scarf, as long as it's long enough for you to reach your foot and put around it and still be able to hold on. So a long strap is what you'll need, so you might want to pause the video now if you're watching this on YouTube. And possibly you can use, if you really struggle with your knees, you can fold up a face cloth, roll it up, and especially for sitting on the knees, if you're struggling a little bit, you can pop that behind the kneecap, and that just creates a little bit more space around the joint, and it might be that you can sit on your knees. So we're ready with our little props. You might also need your cushion or your bolster. We're going to start with a little lie down. So relax, whichever way that means to you, whether you're lying on your back, front, side. We're just going to take a few moments here to settle in. So move any bits of flesh out of the way and settle the body onto the mat. Any way that feels good for you. I've took constructive rest with my knees up and my feet apart so that my knees can fall together, and that just seems to ease my lower back nicely. But it might be different for you. So we ease in and we start to feel the body settle, and we can close our eyes if we like and just start to tune in. Start to pay attention to the breath moving, feeling the air coming in through the nose, over the throat, into the lungs. Feel the air pass back over the throat and out through the nose. And there's no need to change your breath here at all. Just allow the breath to breathe itself. All we're doing is paying attention, observing the rhythm, the depth, and just tuning into that feeling, how you maybe get that expansion at the bottom of the ribs as you reach the peak of the inhalation, and then how that softly releases as you exhale. Maybe you feel the belly softly rising and falling with each breath. Rising on the inhale, falling on the exhale. And a few belly breaths like this, lying on your back, your heart rate starts to slow. Your heart doesn't have to work quite as hard. And as soon as you close your eyes as well, that adds to the brain being notified, as it were, that we are relaxing. Lying down, relaxing. So a few more belly breaths here. And let the body soften with each exhale. then we'll start by sending both legs down the mat, and then drawing the right knee in, right in towards the chest, and give it a good squeeze in. Squeeze the knee in. It just helps the lower back to ease out of lying flat. And then we'll swap those legs around. Right leg long, left leg, left knee. We squeeze it in. We use the shin, the calf, the hands on the shin to squeeze it. And then we softly release. We draw both knees in now and right out to the side, as far as you can get them out to the side, and then we roll both feet away from each other, just easing into the joint space of the ankles. You might get a few little pops as you move through the space. And let's change direction. So the feet go the other way. And you might feel that you're working slightly as well into the knees here. And let's release. Let's find our strap, make sure it's somewhere next to us. Come back onto our backs, feet on the mat. Arms long, next to the body, palms down. You make contact with the forearms into the mat. You're pushing the elbows down and the hands down. The feet, like I say, as close to the bottom as you want them. Maybe a little bit of a gap between the feet. And we're going to breathe in. We're going to slowly lift the hips up. We're going to breathe out, and we're going to slowly roll the vertebrae back down to the floor. We breathe in and we lift up, maybe just small arcs at first. Breathing out, trying to get each vertebrae down instead of one big block of back. Breathe in, gently rolling up. Breathe out, gently rolling down. Now if you want, you can make this a little bit more dynamic and active. So next time you come up with the hips up to the top, you can hang out there. Remember, use your arms. You can reposition them, draw them in a little bit further, and push from the mat, push up from your hips, and just remember the imaginary block between your knees so that your knees aren't collapsing in or out. And when you've had enough of hanging out up there, you slowly breathe out and release really slowly down onto the mat. Let's draw the knees back in, but together, hands on top of the knees, and we're going to have a very small circle here with the knees so that you maybe are feeling that circular bony plate of the sacrum as you massage, as you roll the knees around. That gets a little massage into the floor. Let's change direction. And then we're going to find our strap. So, right leg, right foot down onto the mat. Now you can keep your right knee up, or you can take your right leg long. If you struggle with lower back, I would say keep your right foot on the mat. Get your strap, pop it round, so bend your knee, pop it round your left foot. Then straighten your leg and wrap the strap around so you've got a nice firm grip. Flex the foot so the toes are drawing back towards the shin. This is really good for strengthening the knee. You'll feel it already in the knee joint. So just relax back and draw the leg towards you until you find that stretch up the back of the hamstrings. Not too much pressure on the knees. So you should be feeling something up the back. It's a strong stretch and there's a strong activation through the kneecap, which is helpful for the ligaments, strengthening the ligaments on both sides. Maybe after a few breaths you feel like you can draw it a little bit closer, or maybe you want to just back off for a moment and then come back in to the stretch. Always options. And let's do a little bit of that, a little bit of flossing. So back off, release a little, and then draw it back towards you. Release a little, and then again drawing it back towards you. Let's place the right hand on the right thigh. Let's take a nice deep breath in, and as we breathe out we lift the head towards the knee and we draw the leg towards the head, and then we release. Let's do a little hip opener here. So make the make your hand grip maybe a little bit longer on your strap so that you can start to take your leg down to the floor and then out to the side. And then working that foot again, working on the angle of the hip. And then slowly let's draw that back up, take your foot out the strap, and let's just take a moment lying down with the legs long and see if you can notice the difference between one side and the other. So just a moment's rebound, and then we go to the other side. So left foot on the mat, right foot, we're going to get the strap, going to wrap it round. Flex those toes towards the shin so you get that nice strong activation of all the muscles in the kneecap, and then relax the head and the shoulders back down and start drawing the foot towards you till you feel that stretch up the back of the legs. Keep breathing, keep focusing on the breath. And then again we can do a little bit of flossing here, so backing off and then drawing it back towards you, releasing, softening, and then coming back into that active stretch. And one more release, and one more back in, and we'll take our deep breath in here, and as we breathe out we slide the hand up the left thigh, we draw the head up, we squeeze everything towards each other for a few moments, and then we release. Make that strap a bit longer, make your hand come up a little bit, and then drawing the foot down towards the floor but not on the floor, and then out to the side. Now I've got a bit of a problem here, I'll just shuffle over. I've got a very small Zoom room, so sometimes it's not quite so easy to do some of these big long leg stretches. But we're out to the side and we're working on that angle, maybe drawing it up a little bit more till you find the stretch. And then we slowly arc it back, bring it up, and we release that foot out. Let's do, now then you've got a choice here. You can either roll onto your side to come up, or you can try rocking and rolling. So we bring the knees in, my hands are under my knees, behind my thighs, and I use my legs to rock. So keep your core, keep your belly tight, keep your thighs close to your chest, and if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. And just come up another way. But this is nice. It warms the back up. You're getting a little bit of circulation going, and then we come up to seated. So let's come into a straight-legged pose, Dandasana. So you might want to move the flesh back, or you might even want a little pillow or cushion underneath your hips to raise you up a little bit. If you're feeling like you're falling backwards already, you might just need a little help there. So use what you need. We want our legs nice and long, maybe a little bit of a gap or maybe not. It's entirely up to you. We want this nice 90-degree angle, so we want our hands next to our hips, and then we want to think about activating all the muscles in our legs. So draw the toes back towards the shins again. Feel your gastrocnemius, that big calf belly muscle, activate all the muscles in the leg, especially around the kneecap. Draw the kneecaps in. It's a tight activation, and then we release. Let's do that again. So, centering the breath, centering your angle, rooting down through the hands too, and then activating everything. See if you can get your heels off the floor. That's a really good strong activation there. Your muscles probably feel like steel, which is good. And then we release. Let's do one more of those. So prepare yourself, draw your belly button into, pull up your Mula Bandha, that little zip from the perineum into the belly button. And away we go, activating. And soften. So hands on the knees, use your palms, the lovely soft palms, on top of your kneecaps. I'm going to take my knees apart slightly now. Hands on top of the kneecaps, especially the palms, and you're just circling the hands over the knees, but you're not rubbing the hands around like that, moving them. They stay on the kneecap, and you might hopefully feel the kneecap getting a little bit of a loosening around there. Let's change direction with those hands, go the other way. I mean, you can almost kind of not pull them up, but you feel the space that you're creating and how they move around. And that's quite nice after that strong Dandasana activation. So let's do a little bit more work on the back. We're going to come into Sakino easy pose. Or is it Sukhasana? Can't remember. Maybe I'm getting mixed up. Anyway, we come into our nice cross-legged pose here. Hands out to the side. And then placing the right hand down, you might want to take it a little bit further out as we're going to lift the left arm up. You might be able to bend your right elbow so that we get this nice stretch between the left armpit and the left hip. So you bring your hand over, and then we breathe in up to the top, and we swap sides. We breathe out, get that stretch down the other side. Breathe in up to the top, breathe out to the other side. You go as deep, as low as you want. Breathing in up to the top, breathing out over to the side, and release. Let's come into child's pose just for a moment. So very good for the knees. Again, we're getting this healthy compression of the knee joint. And it's up to you whether you have your knees together, whether you're going to have them apart. And where you want your hands is up to you. But it should feel nice and relaxing, and if it doesn't, then adjust. So there's many options. You can have the arms out in front, you can have the arms folded in front of you like here, and pop your head onto those folded arms. Some people have the knees completely together and the arms behind. There's all those options, and you'll have had a few breaths hopefully in one of those options by now. And then we're going to come up onto our knees if you're able to sit on your knees. Now if you're not able to sit on your knees, but you can do child's pose, go back to child's pose, do a few more breaths or so there. Or you can try using something to sit on. So a nice big bolster, and that raises your hips, takes the pressure off the knee joint here. Or again, like I say, I think these are called knee Gs on the internet. You can buy already a little rolled up kind of sausage, and you can put them in the back of your knee, creating a little bit more space. So there's all these options, and if you're quite flexible in the knees, you can try to go even further from hero pose. You can try placing your hands back and seeing how much you can go backwards. So reclining back until you feel that the stretch up here is too much, or watch out for any niggles in the knee joint space. That's not what we're after here. What we're after is strengthening the knees and stretching the knees and working on our lower back as well. So if you can recline, you can have a go at that, and that's quite nice. It's good for your knees and your lower back. You're getting a little bit of a back bend here around the waist and lumbar. If you like this, it's great for just hanging out in sometimes, but I am aware that for quite a few people this is not available. So just things to work with, things to work on. Let's come into our tabletop position. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, working to the back a little bit more. So we're going to breathe in, we're going to lift our tailbone, let the belly sink, and lift the chest and the chin. We breathe out, and that tailbone drops, and the belly lifts, and the chin drops through to the chest. Breathing in, trying to get a nice rolling movement from one end to the other. Breathing out, breathing in, just going with your own breath and in your own time, rolling from one to the next. And when you draw that belly up and you arch your back, really pull the belly up into the spine, and again you can activate that Mula Bandha, your perineum zip up to the belly button. Okay, so from here we're going to step our left foot out. So you want your sole of your foot onto the floor, and then we're going to lift the left arm, elbow first, and then the arm extends, and we follow it with our gaze and we look up. So getting a nice little twist through the spine, and then we come back down and we draw that foot back in, and then we kickstand the right foot out to the side, place it on the floor, and then twist from your belly, bring your elbow up, then the hand, look to the hand as you twist up and look to the ceiling, and then we release that back down, come back into your tabletop, and then we're going to go for a balancing cat. So left foot up, draw that left leg all the way back, try and keep your hips level, so try not to take your leg up too high like that. So you want a nice straight body. You want to again think about drawing the belly in to the spine, so we've got a nice strong back here, so you're not dumping into the back and letting it collapse. Left leg up, right arm stretches forward. Little balance, good strengthening for the back, and then we release. So we go to the other side, right foot up, and again think about leveling the hips, drawing the belly in and up, and then stretching the left arm forward. And then we slowly release from that. Come back momentarily into a little child's pose, and then back up onto the knees. We're going to tuck those toes behind. We're going to lift into downward dog. So push away from the hands, try and get your heels towards the floor. Maybe pedal one knee and then the other. So again, good for the knees here as we work through that hinge joint. Hinging at the knees, good for the backs of the legs as well. And it's great for the back as well. And then we come back down into tabletop. And we do our eye of needle. So, come back into tabletop, lift the left arm up, and then scoop it through the right arm and the knee, the legs there. See if you can nestle your left shoulder down onto the mat and soften just here for a moment. Again, little twist through the lower, and then we push back up and we swap around. So this time right arm lifts up first, and then we scoop it through the gap. See if we can bring that right shoulder down onto the mat. Little softness, couple of breaths, and then we push back up. Okay, where are we at? What are we doing next? Plank, I think, yeah. Good strengthening for the back. If your wrists are really sore, you can actually do a forearm plank, which I actually quite like. So let's try that today because my wrist is sore. So, just like tabletop, but you put your forearms down. Hands out in front. And then I'll just make a bit more room for myself. And then you're going to tuck the toes behind, lift the hips, and maybe walk the feet back until you feel like your body is straight. So your hips aren't up and your belly isn't sagging. So neither or nor. Neither nor. I don't know what I'm saying now. So you want a nice straight back, and it's quite strong. It's quite intense, so I only do it for a couple of breaths and then relax. Come down into Sphinx. I'm going to turn around. So down into Sphinx. Remember that this can be any incline that you want, so if it's too much with the elbows under the shoulders, you can walk those elbows forward, and then you get less of incline in the back there. Just depends where how your lower back is. If you can manage just for a few breaths each time and just build it up gradually if you do have issues down there in the lower back. If you can manage this, if you're feeling okay, I mean, you could take it higher. If you've got a bolster, I quite like to pull that under bottom of my ribs, nice little pad for my elbows. I've got quite a nice high incline there, but I'm used to doing a few back bends, so I know that my back can handle it here. Let's just take a few breaths, let the body soften and settle, because there's nowhere to go really with this. Once you are here in the pose, it's really good just to marinate in it. Just stop, be still, let the breath smooth out. It should feel really comfy, and if it doesn't, then just adjust. If it's your shoulders, then you can activate a little bit in the shoulders. Don't have to be soft through the whole body. If that helps you create a bit more space, then you can do that. Or it might be that you want to drop your head, and maybe that will ease some of the neck tension. Few more breaths here. It's a nice one to do with a book or watching TV. And we're going to slowly release from this. The longer you're in a posture, the slower you release from it, because you don't want to jolt, especially the lower back. So the way that I come out of this is I either roll my bolster forward and just come down onto the floor, or I get my knee out to the side, take the pressure off my lower back, and then roll that bolster away. Take a moment just lying flat with your hands under your head for a pillow. And if you don't like that, my alternative is cheek onto the mat, same knee out to the side. And you can feel how that decompresses down the spine, releases, it lengthens, and just helps it soften back out after that last back bend. So back bends are great, but don't overdo it. Really important to keep back bending in your routine somehow. But you do have to be careful. So let's come up now into child's pose, which is a nice counter stretch, a nice counter pose for Sphinx. You want to make this really soft on your lower back, so take a more rock-like position and maybe use your bolster or a cushion. And really you're just wanting the back to be soft and round. If you take your knees out, what generally happens is once you've took your knees out, I'll just show you. If I did a nice wide knee child's pose and I bring my arms out in front, that's just accentuating the back bend again slightly. And that's not what you want. It's not a counter pose. Counter pose, soft, round. And if you don't like child's pose for your knees or for any other reason, I'll give you an alternative, which is on your back, draw your knees in, and that's your child's pose. Takes all the pressure off the lumbar. There's no pressure on the knees. I mean, you don't even have to, you could have the legs like that if you want, almost like a little happy baby. In fact, let's come into happy baby. So knees are out to the side. You can grab behind the thighs and just pull the knees down towards the armpits. Have a little sway. If you want, you can work the hands up higher. Just depends how open your hips are. Don't put too much pressure on the lower back. So just be mindful as you move through these postures. You know, set your mind in the areas that are troublesome so that you know that you're doing okay. You can have a little sway here, that can be nice for the lower back as well. Nice, soft, slowing it down now. And we're going to bring the feet back onto the mat. Knees up. We're going to come into our last posture, reclining twist, which is really nice one to finish on, but great for the lower back. Remember, if you've got a bolster or a cushion, you might want to have that handy at the side if your knees don't come all the way down. So we've got many options here. You can start with the feet apart, as wide as your mat if you want, and then you drop the knees to the left. That might be the one for you. Or try feet together, knees stack on top, feet stack on top, and the knees draw to the left. Or you could try twisted roots, right thigh crosses over left thigh, and then you drop both knees to the left. Or the last one, feet off the mat, knees right in, and knees to the left. And you want to try and make sure that your right shoulder feels okay, that it's still in contact with the floor, and that there's not too much twist, too much torque through the body there. And the last thing you can do is turn the head, if you want, in the opposite direction to your knees, but you don't have to. Remember, this is supposed to be really relaxing, super relaxing. One of the most relaxing poses in yoga. So if you're not feeling that relaxation, back off. Get your cushion, make it really cozy, comfy. We're not here to hurt, we're here to heal. And we don't get any prizes for being a hero. But you do get prizes for being kind to yourself. So you want to soften, soften, soften. Use the exhalations to start letting the body completely relax. Deactivate any muscles, there's nothing left to do. Just lie in this posture for a couple more breaths before we go to the other side. Slowly again, slowly release from this. Maybe you need a little reset, a little sway, or maybe even a head towards the knees, pull everything back together. Before you go to the other side, I'm getting my cushion ready already. On my right side. And again, taking the posture that works for you. You can adjust your hands, adjust whatever you need to make it feel good. And then allow the body to start relaxing. We had about 10 breaths on the other side, so we'll do the same on this side. As well as being beneficial to the lower back and the spine, keeping the stretch, keeping that mobility in the vertebrae. It's also very good for your digestive health because you get this nice twist across the middle. And think about wringing out a cloth, how you twist it round, and that's what we're doing here. A few more breaths and then we'll softly release. And slowly draw those knees back over, have a sway, have a hug in, and then release into your final Shavasana, your final posture. Relaxation, anything goes. If you don't like it on your back, take another posture, get your blanket, maybe an eye pillow, so you don't have to get up and turn the light off. Get yourself all cozy and comfy. Let the body settle on the mat. Make all those micro adjustments you need to make. I've got my big singing bowl here, and we've got nothing left to do now. So start to feel those points of contact between your body and the floor. Back of the head, backs of the shoulders, backs of the arms and the hands, the lower back, backs of the legs, and the feet. And then just rest your awareness in the belly, rising and falling with each breath. Just follow that wave-like motion. Lulling you from one moment to the next, wave upon wave of breath. And as you feel the belly rising and falling, I want you to imagine a tiny speck of light deep within your abdomen. A tiny, tiny speck of light. And each time you breathe in, that light grows and grows. Each time you breathe in, the light expands and radiates out in all directions, filling every single space within your abdomen. Filling the sides of the abdomen, the front, the back, the top and the bottom of the abdomen, until every single cell, gland, organ is filled with this beautiful healing light, radiating out and through you. Feel the light streaming forward, bursting forth, bursting from the abdomen, starting to fill up through the chest, through the ribs, the heart space, the upper back, the shoulders. The light spirals and streams and radiates over the tops of the shoulders, streaming down both arms, elbows, wrists, streaming into both hands, filling the palms with healing light. And the light continues to spill up through the neck, the throat, the back of the head, all the way up to the crown. Beautiful healing light settles upon your crown. And softly, softly pours down over the face like a healing liquid. Beautiful light pouring down through the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the cheekbones, the jaw. And the light continues to stream from the abdomen down through the lower back, the hips, the pelvis, filling every single space. And the light gently pours down through the legs, wrapping around the knees, slowly filtering through calves, shins, bone, ligament, ankles, pouring into both feet, filling the soles, the heels, the toes, the whole of the feet with this beautiful healing light. Until the whole body is full. Whole body is full of healing light. The whole of the back lying on the floor is full of healing light. The whole of the head that's lying on the floor is full of healing light. The arms and the legs are full of healing light. The whole of the abdomen is full of healing light. Start to hear other sounds in the room that you're in. Feel again the body lying on the mat. And start to take deeper breaths in now and bring a little bit of movement back to your physical body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Move any way that feels good, whether you want to stretch out like a morning stretch, or whether you want to hug the knees in like we did before and have a little sway on the back. Just do what you need to do to ease out of that lying down posture. And then once you've had a little stretch, a little hug in, make your way up to seated, whether you're rolling onto a side or whether you're using that rocking motion to come up to seated. And we'll bring our hands together in gratitude for our practice, and we bow our head in respect for all the teachers that have kept the path illuminated and passed on all this beautiful knowledge. And we say Namaste. Namaste, which means I bow down to the divine in you. So thank you very much for if you're watching my video on YouTube, if you could like it or even subscribe or leave me a little comment, and hopefully I will see you again next time. Thank you.